Hello guys and welcome to today's, this week's webinar, again with our New South Wales analyst Mark Rhoden. And today, Mark, we will be previewing the Group 1 $1 million Epsom Handicap at Royal Randwick on Saturday.
Yes, Daniel, we will. It's a really high quality race, as you'd expect for that prize money, a Group 1 mile handicap at Randwick. We've got a bit of a tricky situation to deal with on Saturday, judging by the weather forecast. It's going to be very windy, a strong southerly, and a chance of rain on the day too. So we're going to have to play that by ear a bit on the day. But I've done the form, you know, to the best of my ability at this point, and we'll go through that and give you a guide to each of their chances.
No worries. It'll be difficult to piece together all the form too, coming from, you know, Melbourne and Sydney. You think you've got a grasp on all of that at the moment?
I think so. Yeah, there's a bit of Melbourne form in there, and there's a few different strands of form of the locals too. So, but you know, the way we rate them, we like to think we can line them up pretty well. So hopefully that doesn't present too much of a problem. But yeah, as I mentioned, I'm a bit wary of that weather, but we can only really play the ball as it lies at this stage. So yeah, we'll get into it.
No worries, Mark. Over to you.
Okay, I won't go into too much detail about the sheet I'm using here. It's been covered before in previous webinars, so those resources are available if you're interested. Go and look them up. So we'll just get straight into it. Having a quick look at the map. Yeah, this is how I see it unfolding in the first few hundred metres anyway. I think they will spread out more than over, you know, 8 or 9 lengths as the race unfolds, but this is sort of giving us an idea of the sort of challenges that each of the jockeys might face. I've got Religify and beats them leading, which I imagine most people would. This is like the view from the inside rail on the back straight. Southerly will be hitting them sort of diagonally across this way. So maybe there'll be an advantage in the run anyway to have a bit of cover midfield. Behind them, it will be in the home straight. Sorry, it'll be behind them and sort of across from the inside. So yeah, whether that means you want to be off the fence, I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see on the day, but it could well be a factor. Anyway, back to the map. Religify and beats them are sort of noted on paces. Tom Melbourne's drawn 18. Last time he drew wide in a field like this, they pushed on. I imagine they'll do the same. I don't think he's the sort of horse you want to restrain. He does lots of things wrong. Then we move back through. So Hartnell actually looks like he could lob in from 10 if he could get a really nice run there. Some of the other chances, Pirata will be in here somewhere, either on the fence or one off. Looks like getting a very good run there. Jinto's drawn 1, which they probably would have preferred a middle barrier, but he'll get a good run anyway, and he might need a little bit of luck at some point, as will Unforgotten, who's drawn 3. Really, I don't think there's much point bustling her. I think riding her pretty cold and then using that sprint is the best way to ride her, so they're going to need a little bit of luck too at some point. Anyway, we'll go back to the main page and we'll start running through each of the individual runners. Starting with Hartnell, the 8-year-old now Hartnell. He's earned his 57 kilo top weight, which I think is probably going to be his biggest stumbling block here. He's actually returned in pretty good order with 2 good runs at weight for age. Just looking at our ratings though, he was at a much higher level back here. He's gradually got dropped off as he's got older, and I've assessed him off rating 114, which has probably been kind, and got him 20 to 1. And yeah, I mean, he's giving significant weight to some very smart younger improving horses, and that he'll get a good run, and he has been a great horse, but that really does give him a bit of a task. I think he's in a bit of trouble. On to Pirata. First of there's 3 main chances. The market's identifying them, but there's 3 real main chances in this, and Pirata's definitely one of them. He had a setback before his last start, second in the Bill Ritchie, and he was never on the track there either. He was free wide, no cover the entire, and only just grabbed on the line by Trebek. Drawn to get a much better run here. He won't be too far away from them. He ran second to Chemic in the Randwick Guineas. He's only attempted a mile at 3 years old. He failed at 2, but I think with the run he'll get, he won't have a problem. He's at Pirata, they tend to get a mile and further. Definite chance with the run he's going to get. And no, obviously been set for this race. I foresee him doing a new peak rating and genuine winning chance. As is number 3, Jinto. James McDonald getting down to 53.5 for the first time in a long time. Shows the opinion he has of this horse, and rightly so. Hasn't put a foot wrong this prep. Very good behind Winks first up, then dropped back 100 metres, interestingly. Chased home with the Brave, did a very good job. He will be set to peak here. He's very well weighted. All he's going to need is that little touch of luck at some point, and if he gets it, he'll just about be winning it. He will have no problem with a soft track if the rain arrives or more rain arrives. He'll eat up the 1600. I actually have him on top in the race as one of those 3 main chances, but if I had to pick one, it would be him. We now move on to Leila, whose best ever run was actually in a mile handicap last year at Flemington in the Kennedy Mile, where she famously held off Tom Melbourne yet again. She hasn't actually got back to those heights since, but she did chase very well first up in the Home of the Brave race, the same race as Jinto came through, and she had a very soft trial since then. I expect her to run well. As you can see, our job figure, meaning the rating the horse needs to do to be a winning chance in the race, is up around the 113, which is her very, very best. If I was in a generous mood, I could give her that, but I think being a bit more conservative is probably the right play. But it will be in the back of my mind that she is some sort of each way chance in this, bearing in mind that she has peaked in a race like this before. Jukka Valentinois, I thought his run was very good in the Bill Ritchie at massive odds. He made up a lot of ground. I mean, you never really would have thought he'd be an Epsom winner, this horse. He sort of always performed well in Group 3 enlisted sort of company. That appeared to be his level. On strict figures, he's got the 112, 113s, but as I said, they were carrying big weights in lower grade races. One of the sort of tenets that I use when it comes to using these time and weight ratings is that you need to have a real turn of foot to back up these high marks when you have a big weight drop like 59 down to 53, because the actual weight carried is a building block of the overall figure. And if you can't run any faster with a light weight, then you won't rate as high. So that's the task facing Jukka Valentinois. But again, similar to Shillelagh, he's one that would not shock me if he ran on into a place. He's going to be a hell of a long way back from 16. I would think that's against him as well. But if they're making ground, if that's the right spot to be, he could run on and be somewhere thereabouts. And I think he's about 60 or 70 to 1 in most places at the moment too. So it could be a rough place chance. On to number 6, Single Gaze. Well, she's been retired once and they should have left her there, I think. Beaten out of sight in the Chelmsford. She has won a trial since, but she was asked to win that trial, I think. I think the original connections got this one right, and hopefully she'll be retired again soon. I don't think she's got any chance. Unforgotten, the third of the big 3 chances in this race. Outstanding win in the Chelmsford. Just showed that trademark turn of foot she's got. I mean, this should be just custom made for a race like this. She is one of those horses that, dropping in weight because she can sprint so quickly, will rate higher, or at least get a chance to go to her best. As I touched on when we looked at the map, the barrier 3 is a slight concern for me, because I think the only way to ride her is get back. It's going to be a 20 horse field. There's going to be a fair bit of traffic to get through. But if she can get a crack at them, she could win, no question at all. She is a very, very good mare. Mr. Seawolf, racing the same colours as Unforgotten, actually. Another one of these strong one paces who's got the big weight drop here today. He's one who I don't think will go any faster down in weight. He had every possible chance in the Hawkesbury race. Perfect ride, James McDonald. Yeah, this is a big step up in class, and I don't think the weight drop's enough to put him into the race. So a minor chance only, I think. Beatsom, yeah, he was okay first up and then hasn't been great since. I thought he looked at his chance last week against Noir and was a bit plain late. He's got to be conceded some chance because he ran a very good third in the Doncaster in the autumn to Happy Clapper. So if you run under that, it'd be a rough hope. I'm not convinced he's going all that well. He'll come across from 15 and be up on the pace. I think they'll run past him though. Right, we move on to number 10, Religify, another one who'll be putting the speed on here. Could be encouraged to set up a bit of a lead and break the field up and give the stablemate Unforgotten a chance to get through, possibly. But whichever way you look at it, he is going to find it very difficult in this class. He's rated okay in weight for age races with 59, down to 52.5 here. He'll lead and give a sight, but very much like Beitsom, I think they will get past him on Saturday. Lanciato, interesting runner. I was very much of the opinion he had a new level in him this prep. I thought his first up run in the Missile in the Pirata Commentary race was outstanding and really put the writing on the wall that he could do something. Had his run space since then, got a long way back in the tramway, which was very slowly run, didn't suit him. Nice trial since, not asked to do anything, and Rachel King back on, replacing Tommy Berry. Her last 3 wins, or his last 3 wins, were for Rachel King last preparation. I don't think that's a bad jockey change at all. Similar to Unforgotten, only one way to ride him. It will be a long, long way back, but he has got a great turn of foot. He could get himself into the placings, I think. The enigmatic Tom Melbourne is a nice way of putting it. Well documented that he finds it impossible to win. He was very ordinary in the Bill Ritchie 2, and he's drawn 18 here. As I said, I'm speculating they'll go forward. Just put him in the race and see what happens. But, you know, they might try a different tack from 18. I don't think it matters. That, you know, he is 8 years old now. That second up performance after a good first up run was not a good sign. He might be on a downward spiral now, and not entertaining him even as a place proposition this time. Move on to Champagne Cuddles. Come back really well. Good third in the Stradbroke with 51, same way that she's got on Saturday in the winter. This is a stronger race than that, to be fair, and it's 1600. But she's going really well. Barrier 20 and the jockey change from McDonald to Newitt puts the slows on her a bit. Puts her, as you can see here, in the mid 20 to 1 range. I think that's about her right price. But she is going well. I will say that for her. Number 14 now, Red Excitement. Yeah, 9-year-olds. Another one of these sort of handicappers / you know, mid-ranking weight for age horses who are dropping down to a low weight in the Group 1 handicap. He had no luck in the Cameron, and he fought on really well for second. Yeah, I think this will be beyond him. I can't see him running up to his best with 51 kilos in this sort of class. He ran in the race last year. Was a well-beaten 8th, as you can see back here, behind Happy Clapper. Yeah, I'd expect him to be finishing back in the second half of the field again. New Tipperary, really good win in the Cameron. Went to his very best at 30 to 1. He's drawn 17. He'll be back and ride here. May not be the end of the world, but yeah, this is certainly not an easier proposition. He would have to go to a whole new level to be winning the Epsom on Saturday. Siege of Quebec, who beat Pirata home last time. I do think Pirata will be turning the tables on him on Saturday, however. Trebek took advantage of a much more favourable run in transit 2 weeks ago. The roles may well be reversed on Saturday, and they're out to 1,600 metres. He showed last start he's not totally out of his depth at this level, and he does drop down to 50 kilos. It has some chance, but I would be very surprised to see him finish in front of Pirata, and for that reason I don't have him as one of the top ranking chances. Invictus Prints. Now this was an interesting runner. You can see over here he rated 115, which would, if we assessed him off that, we'd have him clear favourite behind Winks, but that rating really should have an asterisk against it, because he did. He was very much advantaged by the way the track was playing that day, and Winks wasn't, and Winks obviously still beat him very easily. However, it was still a good run, but he really did fail to back it up in the Bill Ritchie last time. He was only fair, and you know that was an easier race to win than this one, and I think he might have shown that he's probably not up to Group 1 company at this point in time. Scratching there, on to Murakeb, dropping 10 kilos off a last start win. That sort of reads well, but yeah, massive step up from a benchmark 88. Yeah, I don't think he'll be going to his best in this race. He'll get a good run. He'll get a very good run, but hard to see him winning. Good fella. I quite like that prep of having a 2,000 metre run and backing up 7 days later back to the mile. It's worked in these sort of races before. It won't for him though. I mean, he's going around to 12 to 1 in 2,000 metre benchmark 88s. Now he's racing the likes of Unforgotten and Dargeno and Pirata. Even with the massive weight drop, that's not going to be enough to assist him. He's very little chance indeed. 21 is scratch, leaving us with Pirata, who created a bit of an impression winning the 3 in a row early in the prep, looking very good. Then he was asked to make the step up to group company last time. He had a weight drop that day, and he's got another one again today, but he was pretty disappointing there. He didn't show that he'd measure up to that grade, and now he's up in grade again, so he's a very rough chance indeed for my money. Anyway, that's the lot of them. As to recommending a betting strategy, I'm not much help to you at this stage, because I've got Dargento $5 and Unforgotten and Pirata, the other two very close behind him at almost the same price, $5.60, $5.70. If we just have a look at the current market, you can see it's basically the same horses in the same order, just a bit shorter, just with the bookies margining, around the 420, 440, 440, 460, around the $5 mark, those three. So with it being so difficult to separate the three of them, and there not being any value of the prices at this point, I wouldn't be betting in the race. We'll see what happens if there's any further scratchings, any further rain, and see what that wind's doing on Saturday morning if that forecast has changed. But at this stage, I wouldn't recommend a bet on any of them, but they're certainly my top 3 selections, 3, 7 and 2. And maybe a wild spec place or each way bet on Jukka Valentinois at massive odds if they're running on at 60 to 1. But if you back it, I'd make it a very, very small bet. So, yeah, that's about the strength of it. Not a great deal of help at this point, but, yeah, definitely 3 standouts here, and I would be surprised if one of the 3 of those didn't win.
Mark, thank you again for that comprehensive review. Tom Melbourne can't run second, you don't think?
Well, I mean, I think a lot of people wanted him to run second last time, and he ran about 7th. So I think even that strategy with old Tom might have run its race.
Fantastic. And while I've got you, who do you like in the NRL and AFL Grand Finals this weekend?
Well, I'm a Melburnian, so I'll go for the Storm in the NRL. Don't follow it that closely, but they appear to have been, one of the best sides all year, and with Slater getting off, will look like they'll be hard to beat. I think West Coast are maybe over the odds in the AFL Grand Final. They're 13-0, I'm told, with Kennedy and Darling both in the side. So, with an unbeaten record like that and getting odds against, that might be the value play. But you know, footy's finished for me. I'm a Richmond supporter. We're done, checked out for the year, basically.
I hear you, mate. I'm a Tiger fan as well. Mate, thanks again for that. All those listening, if you are interested in picking up a New South Wales Winners subscription, please don't hesitate to get in touch, 1300 500 057, or flick us an email at team@championbets.com.au. Mark, thanks again.
Thanks a lot, Daniel. Thanks for that.
No worries. Bye, guys.